All right, so move on to the next segment. We're going to pivot over here to the world of MMA inside the UFC world. And I'll be sharing my UFC 323 fight preview. So the UFC 323 card has been officially announced today, thanks to Dana White and the UFC executives. We have a good card December 6th to close out the calendar year 2025. So today, I'll be going over the main event and the co-main event that will take place at UFC 323. So in the main event, you will see Merab back in action again. He will be in the main event of UFC 323 and will be defending his bantamweight championship in a rematch against Peter Yan. So my thoughts on the UFC 323 main event. I honestly like the UFC 323 card. Dana White and the UFC are trying to end the calendar year 2025 and their ESPN partnership with a bang. And I like that Merab will be defending his bantamweight championship for the 4th time this year. He's fighter of the year, hands down. I don't give a damn what you guys say at this point. The man is really coming out and giving us great outings. And Merab is going to be the first fighter in UFC history to ever defend a championship 4 times in a calendar year. So that is very impressive. He's a different animal, different beast. He's already 3-0 this year, having 3 impressive victories against Umar, Sean O'Malley, and Corey Sandhagen. So he's looking to have a 4th successful title defense. And I honestly said a week ago on the Combat Series, for you guys that follow it, I said that Merab would be interested in fighting Peter Yan in a rematch because he already came out the mouth and said he wanted it. Now we're getting it. Will history repeat itself? Everybody knows that Merab defeated Peter Yan 2 years ago in 2023 by unanimous decision. But can history repeat itself? Will Merab's wrestling and grappling skills mixed with his impressive takedowns be too much for Peter Yan to handle? Or will we see something different written in the chapter books? Will Peter Yan be the one to end Merab's hot streak? Can the striking get home to Merab? We've seen Merab get stunned with some great striking this year in 2025. Umar stunned him and hurt him a couple times in the octagon. Corey Sandhagen in the first round against Merab a week or so ago hurt Merab with the striking. So could Peter Yan possibly be the one to crack the code and possibly finish Merab with his striking abilities? Or will Merab put on a masterclass performance once again with the relentless pressure offense, takedowns, grappling, wearing down his opponent, mixing in his own impressive striking abilities? We'll see. I think this rematch is going to be better than the first fight. It's going to be very interesting in the main event of UFC 323. Now for the co-main event of UFC 323, you'll have another championship fight. This fight taking place at the flyweight division. You'll have Alexandre Pantoja against Joshua Van for the flyweight championship at the co-main event of UFC 323. Ooh. Thoughts on this fight? This is a huge fight at the flyweight division between Alexandre Pantoja and Joshua Van. I think this is going to be a really good, compelling fight to close out the year 2025 in the co-main event of UFC 323. Now, you guys look at Joshua Van. He's had a great 2025. He's 3-0 this year, highlighted with the biggest victory of his MMA career, defeated Brandon Royval to earn this title shot to fight Alexandre Pantoja. Now, styles makes fights. Alexandre Pantoja's world is the classic grappling skills. We know he's a phenomenal grappler, good submission fighter as well, can really crank in the submissions and force his opponents to submit. And meanwhile, Joshua Van is a good striker, and he really can fight well under pressure. He acts very composed in that octagon when he's facing a little bit of adversity. That's why he's on a wave of momentum right now. So I think this is going to be a really good fight between Alexandre Pantoja and Joshua Van in the co-main event for the UFC Flyweight Championship. But I can't wait for the December 6th. It's going to be a good night of combat sports. Whether you're a boxing fan, UFC fan, you got the best of both worlds this year to close out the year. But I think UFC 323 is going to be a really good card. And those are my thoughts on the main event and co-main event for UFC 323.